turkey crossed the road. Well, we made it to another wheelchair accessible trail that doesn't really have a name. It's actually behind an an office park. Back in the day, this section right here used to be just covered with reeds, pussy willows and reeds and stuff, and there were a bazillion red-winged blackbirds. You couldn't come down here without hearing them a mile away. Apparently they've cleared them all out. I'm not exactly sure why, but it's a shame because all of those birds are gone. There's a few pussy willows left, but those birds are gone, and I was looking forward to hearing them, but it's a bummer. So out here is one of my all-time favorite oak trees. Actually, it's multiple oak trees, but it looks like one from a distance. So when we get up there, I'll show you. This is less about the trail, and it's more about like a mental meander, because I've got a mental meander I want to do out here because it's so pretty. So let's get up there, and well, actually you can see from a distance, doesn't that one look like one tree? But it's just beautiful. Let's get up there. Don't know if you can see her or not, but that little goose over there, I'm pretty sure she's sitting on eggs because it's the season, and that's what they do. They nest in the middle of the field. It's like, why don't you go hide somewhere? But there's usually a little puddle of water there, like a vernal pool, but she's a brave one just to sit there like that, guarding her eggs. Over there, I don't know if you can see it or not, the poppies, little field of poppies. This is my tree. I call it the tree, but it's actually multiple trees. Isn't it pretty? She's still watching me. She's keeping, oh, okay. Yeah, I won't bother you, sweet girl. She's still watching me. I wanted to park myself right here, but I'm stressing her out. So I'm thinking I might just, I pulled off the side. Thinking I might go around here and do this. I wanted to get away from that trail right there. Yep, she's got eggs over there. When she stood up now, she's covering them up. So I scared her, so I tried to get out of the way. You know, it would have been better if you'd built that farther over into the weeds, honey. I don't know where her mate is. I didn't really want to do this right here in this exact spot because right here you can maybe see there's a spur to the trail because it does go up there to a neighborhood, and then right there it goes out to the street. There's turkeys over here too. Did you hear the turkey go? So this area where I'm sitting, like I said, isn't exactly the best area. I didn't want to sit here, but I wanted to get away from her. She's still watching me, the goose, because she's still burying her eggs. But there's an intersection right here where there's a lot of people going by, and I didn't want to be here in this spot. I wanted to be actually closer to the tree, but again, scooter. So anyway, this mental meander thing today is, I had somebody ask me specifically to do something about conflict resolution, family conflict, but it doesn't have to be specific to families. It can be anybody that you have conflict with your, neighbor, or, somebody at work or friend or whatever. So the first thing that you want to make sure that you do is focus on the problem, not the person. And like I've said before, that a lot of times we have a tendency, especially for kids and dogs and stuff, to say things like, bad boy. Well, that makes it sound like the boy or the dog or whatever is bad just simply by being, which isn't the message that we want to get across. Well, maybe we want to get that across, but we don't. That's not healthy. What's the problem is what that dog or that kid did is the problem. So we want to make sure that we separate that out, even for dogs, because dogs know. But, geez. But anyway, so in a relationship conflict with, let's say, your partner or a family member or something, or a friend, you want to make sure that you separate whatever that problem is from that person, instead of belittling them and mocking them and treating them like dirt. And the buzzard is circling over me. They know I'm here on a scooter. So anyway, The second thing you want to do is something called reflective listening. And it's not, again, not mocking. So when they say something to you, except the dog, you don't want to necessarily do, woof, 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 woof. If they say something to you, you want to reflect back to them what it was you heard them say. Because there's like 4 sides to every conversation. There's what the person says, what the other person receives, what really happened, and then what the person who spoke thought happened. So it's everything is open to interpretation. And so when somebody says something to you, whether it's a conflict or not, if you're having a discussion, you can actually reflect back to them and say, I heard you say, or what I understand you to have said, or something along those lines. So let's say somebody's having an argument or a discussion, as my dad used to say, we're having a discussion about, you squeeze the toothpaste tube in the middle and it drives me crazy. I'm using something simple. So the other person who heard that could say, I heard you say that when I squeeze the toothpaste tube in the middle, it drives you crazy. Did I get that right? And they'll say, yes, why do you do that? And then there goes the argument, right? So there's where we want to stop and use the next step, which is called I statements. Not like eyeball statements, but I statements. Make it all about me. I think I've mentioned I statements before in another video. I don't remember exactly. But let's say you're having this discussion with this person about squeezing the toothpaste tube in the middle and it drives you crazy. Instead of saying, pointing the finger, you drive me crazy by squeezing the toothpaste tube, it's all about me. So it's like, I feel whatever, fill in a blank, I feel blank, when you blank, or when XYZ happens. And you state how you feel. It doesn't have to be in this order, but state how you feel, the event that happened, and what kind of resolution that you're looking for. So I feel stressed when I see the toothpaste tube squeezed in the middle, and I'm hoping that we can resolve this, or maybe that we can, buy 2 tubes of toothpaste so you can have one and I can have one and you can squeeze it however you want, or whatever, So I statements are a way to get around pointing the finger saying, you drive me crazy. Instead, it's all about me. I'm reading this so you don't have to, and I don't have a printed version because I ran out of ink. But I can still post this under the video. The example that they show on here for I statements says, when sharing a concern, begin the sentence with I. For example, I feel hurt when you don't tell me you'll be late. With this sentence format, we show that we are taking responsibility for our own emotion rather than blaming our partner. The alternative sentence, you never tell me when you're going to be late, will often cause a partner to become defensive. See how that works? Because nobody can make you anything as far as emotion goes. You do it. I know, I had trouble with that myself. It's true though, because they can't make you mad. They can't make you crazy. They can't make you nuts. They can't make you do anything emotion-wise. They can bring it on in a flash, but they can't make it happen. That's all internal stuff. And internal stuff is influenced by external stuff, and it can be a flash, literally. But by having this discussion in a way that says, I feel whatever, I feel angry, puts the emotion part on you instead of on the person that you're having this discussion with. So I can post another thing about I statements too. So after I statements, one of the things you want to do is know when to take a time out, because once you start getting all worked up in a discussion, sometimes we tend to get a little more emotional and our rational brain goes offline when that happens. It's just nature. That's the way it happens. That's the way it works. Because when you're running from the bear, you don't need to think about it. You just need to run. And that's what happens. You live in the emotional brain and your rational brain goes, oh, I'm shutting down now. You don't need me. I'll be back later. So arguments are the running from the bear sometimes. So the example they have on here is when you and your partner become argumentative, insulting, or aggressive, not that that ever happens, it's a good idea to take a time out. Have a plan in place. Have a plan in place. That's the key right there. So you and your partner can call for a time out. And then when you do have a time out, go do something relaxing, spend some time alone, Go take a breather, take a walk, go outside into nature, stand under an oak tree, listen to the acorn woodpeckers, you know. But once you both calm down, you have to return to solve the problem, whatever the problem is. So be sure that you do return to it. It doesn't have to be that specific day or that hour or whatever, but it's not a good idea to leave whatever it was you were discussing unaddressed. You need to like find some kind of resolution. So, and that's the last part, is working toward a resolution. And that's not always easy. And the example that they give in here is disagreement is a normal part of relationships, of any relationship, partners or friends or whatever. If it becomes clear that you and your partner will not agree, focus on a resolution instead. Try to find compromise that benefits both individuals. Ask yourself if this disagreement really matters to your relationship, and let yourself move on if not. Because a lot of times we tend to, sometimes, not pick our battles well. It's like, is this really worth it? What battle do we want to win here? Is it more important to be right, or is it more important to be happy? And if it's just going to be, okay, you're right, I'm sorry. Apologizing is also, it's not listed on there, but that's also, you need to learn how to apologize sometimes. People don't know how to apologize. They never say, I'm sorry. It's like, I apologize for blah, 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 blah. Well, speaking of apologies, so here's apologies. So when somebody does something that somebody else finds to be hurtful in some way, the person doing the hurting, or the person that needs to apologize, goes to the other person and says, I'm sorry. Well, that's a good start. But you're sorry for what? I'm sorry I made you cry. I'm sorry that I made you, here you go making. Can't really make them, but I caused you to cry. I'm sorry that you're crying. I'm sorry that you're upset. I'm sorry that we had this argument. I'm sorry that, whatever. And then it's not just apologizing, but it's also changing the behavior that caused the incident to begin with. So it's like repentance. If you're spiritual at all, you know what repentance is. Once you repent of something, you turn from that and don't do it again, or at least try your darndest not to do it again. So another part of apologizing is not saying, I'm sorry, but, because hold your butts. There's a book actually called Hold Your Butts. It's really funny. So hold your butts. I'm sorry for blah, blah, blah. And that's it. Not I'm sorry for causing you to cry, but you made me mad. That's not an apology. I'm sorry that you broke your ankle, but you shouldn't have been on that trail. That's not an apology, Well, that wasn't really an apology anyway. That was a sympathy thing. Bad example, but you know what I mean. But, see, there's the but. But's not always a bad thing, but in an apology it is, because it kind of negates what you just said. Again, not in every example is but a bad thing, but in an apology, it doesn't usually work very well. So, anyway, that's the basic rundown on conflict resolution. I mean, it's very, very super basic. But I'll put a link in the description below the video. Scroll down on the page. Click on read more, and it'll open up with where you can click on the link to see the actual handout that goes with this conflict resolution. Plus, I will add one for I statements and one for apologies. So there'll be 3 links, hopefully, if I remember to do it. I should, if I'm editing this, and I'll hear me say that. Oh yeah, I got to add those. So anyway, let's get one more look at this scenery. She's still standing by her nest. She's not back sitting on it yet. She's waiting for me to leave. So anyway, let's check and take another look around, and then we'll be off. I don't know if you can see her, but she's right there. Looks like she might have, oh, there she is, popped her head up. Here comes a turkey. It's been a couple of turkeys that wandered by. She's still over there protecting her nest. Some kid on a bicycle ran right over there to her on his bike. And we're like, dude, there's eggs over there. Why did the turkey cross the road? To gobble the other side. I believe in a world where turkeys can cross the road without having their motives questioned. I wonder why they have that one feather that dangles on their chest. What a tough life. I would hate to be a bird like that. Okay, so I made it back to the car. I got waylaid by a lady who stopped to talk to me for 25 minutes. Anyway, so she was an interesting lady, nice lady, you know, nothing against her. But and now there's a train going by and I can't do the outro out there because it's too loud. Actually, it looks like the train's slowing down, like it's going to stop. Oh, that's the end of the train. Thank goodness, man. It was going by for a long time. Anyway, that's about it. So I'm going to put links for the conflict resolution, I statements, and how to apologize under the video in the description. So when you're on the computer and you see the video, scroll down on the page and click on, you know, you'll see the title and you'll see a few sentences, and click on read more and pop that open, and that's where the links will be. If you're on your phone, scroll down to where you see the title of the video and tap on that and it'll pop open with a description that should have the links available in there too. So if you're interested. If you're not interested, you didn't even get this far. Well, I will never know. So anyway, that's about all for now. Hopefully I'll be able to find someplace else to go with Mr. Blue Streak back here. I'm glad I have it. Like I said, my friend Mama Bear got it for me. I have one that I use in the house and I have the one that I use on the trail. So hopefully we can find some more wheelchair accessible trails or Blue Streak accessible trails so we can get back out there, even though it's boring, flat, paved trails. Like I said, they have a time and a place, and unfortunately, this is the time and the place for flat, boring, paved trails. Anyway, somebody might need them. Who knew it would be me? So, okay, I'll stop talking. You can go. You can wake up now. Wake up. Video's over. Music is going to start, and I will talk to you later. Hello.
Flowers?
Yeah.
Nice.
Start that over again. Some guy just went by and asked me if I was taking pictures of the flowers. I'm going to cut this off here.